Good morning. I thought it might be fun to try something. I thought, or I have, good morning. I've been thinking about wanting to, let's start this over. One of my favorite memories about my Grammy was her storytelling. She always loved to tell some stories, and I was always wanted to hear anything and everything that she wanted to share. I was her little buddy that would sit right there and just listen to it all. And I can still hear her voice today. Try not to cry. I watched something earlier. What was it I watched? Oh, it was like America Got Talent clip. It was just this like 59-year-old man that taught guitar. He shredded that guitar. And I literally started crying over this guy shredding a guitar. So that's the kind of morning I'm already having anyway. So bear with me as I try and talk about my own family shit. She always had these stories and a lot of, family stories. I think of my family members, immediate family members anyway, that I know of, and probably the one person that latches on to those memories. And I feel like in the items that possess the story, hold the story of some of these memories, because they aren't just, there are some tangible items to some of these stories. And so I thought it would be kind of fun and also a way of documenting for myself and even some, whoever might decide they want to be a collector of these items as well once I'm gone. Maybe they don't know the story behind them, because I don't really have anybody to share the story with. I don't have any children, so, well, damn. I really didn't know this would be emotional. It's not that big a deal.
It's no big deal. Yeah, no big deal.
But anyway, so yeah, I thought I have a lot of my family's treasures, and it's a gorgeous henge, but to anybody who really doesn't know, would not know what this henge signifies for my family. So this is a henge to my great grandmother's upright piano. Beautiful wood piano. There's some pictures of this piano, like these pictures here. The piano is at my Grammy's and Poppy's house. And then this picture here is at my mom and dad's house, which my whole life, beyond, it looks like somewhere between maybe whatever age I was here. I was 2. I was 2 here. 6 here. So by the time I was 6, the piano was in my house. And I would sit at that piano for hours and hours and hours, just playing my own little concerts. I did take piano lessons. This piano never stayed in tune though, so no matter what mom did to try and get that piano to stay in tune, it would not stay in tune. But I loved sitting there. And then the school desk, which we still have, I probably should try and get that from mom because it's just sitting in the back room. But the desk, I said school desk because I made it my school desk. The bench to the piano, it had the seat that flapped up, and then so when I lifted up, that became my teacher's desk when I was playing school. And on the underneath side of it, you can see where I scratched in people's names and gave them detentions. So this little bench has its own little story. So I probably should get the bench. But anyway, so yeah, this was my great grandmother's piano, and she played beautifully, and she was self-taught. She couldn't read music at all, and she played by ear. So you could play something for her, or she could hear it, and then she would just play it. Amazing talent. And the story my Grammy would always tell is my poppy and his siblings, when they were kids, they, getting like candies and such was a luxury. It wasn't something that you had to have a little bit of money to be able to really like indulge in often. So it was rare when the kids would get candies and sweets and stuff. And so for Christmas, one of the relatives would almost always get them a box of chocolates. And so the kids would, tear into these chocolates. And then there was one particular chocolate, though, that none of them liked, and that was raspberry-centered chocolates. So when they would bite into a raspberry one, they would throw it behind this piano at my great-grandmother's house. And then come, spring, they've got a hunkering for some chocolate and something sweet, but they don't have any money to go to the dime store or the candy store and get them some sweets. But they remembered that they had chucked those raspberry chocolates behind this piano. So those kids would pull the piano out, dust off those chocolates, and eat them. So my poppy, in his later years of life, got sick. He had 3 major heart attacks and an unknown amount of strokes. He ended up being paralyzed. I'm not honestly sure, to be honest, if he ended up becoming fully paralyzed on both sides or if it was just one side the whole time. But he was bedfast for 7 years, and my Grammy took care of him in her dining room of her house, and because nobody else could take care of him like she could. And but he was blind from all the strokes as well. But one of the memories that falls into the piano and chocolate story was he was in the hospital this one time after one of his episodes. I'm not sure if he'd had a heart attack or one of his strokes. But he was not very communicative. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. He couldn't speak very well, or he didn't at all. And so somebody had gotten him a box of chocolates and had brought it to the hospital room. And so Grammy was up there with him, and she's like, "Honey, would you like some chocolate?" And so she opened the box of chocolates and she picked one out. I don't even know if she really looked, she just picked a chocolate out and she gave him a little bite, and he made a face. And for one, the face alone was, the first movement or any sign of anything he had made for a while. But he made this face, and she grabbed that chocolate and said, "Oh, honey, I'm sorry. It must have been a raspberry one. Let me throw it behind the piano." And he started laughing, and he laughing and laughing. And so that memory of the silly kids they were throwing those chocolates behind the piano triggered something in him, and he remembered, and it got a good laugh out of him while he was laying there. So that's always been one of my favorite stories Grammy's told about, the chocolates behind the piano. But then the piano itself was always supposed to be mine, but I never ended up living in a house that could accommodate a piano of its size. And Mom had moved it around over the years She was just tired of it. Nobody else wanted it. I did want it. I just didn't have a place for it. So the decision was made to disassemble Johnny number 5. So as heartbreaking as it is, this piano was disassembled. Parts of it have been distributed to the family members that wanted a piece of it. I wanted the hinge, and I would like the bench eventually, but like the back panel and that Mom kept for like making a shelf out of, and like the spindles on the sides for like candlesticks. I believe we have all of the ivory, because the keys were ivory. We have those. So we do have various parts of it, but now it is kind of scattered amongst the family, whoever wanted a memory of it. So that is the story of the piano. And my first story, so it was hard for me to get through. So thanks for your patience. Maybe as I do a few more of these, I'll get better at the storytelling. I'm not quite as good as my Grammy was. Now I gotta pick what else. What the next thing I can talk about would be. I got a lot. Thanks for watching. Till the next story. Bye.
Seasons come and go.